I never realized that the average person doesn't really understand marketing from a marketer's perspective and is not necessarily able to put themselves in the shoes of a customer. So today, I want to break down kind of how to do that and how to properly think like a marketer because, like I said, I didn't realize the majority of people aren't able to do that. And I think that that's one of the biggest contributing factors to success when it comes to being a marketer in any world, even if you're not a freelance brand scaler. So I'm going to break this down in like three different kind of big whole keys to marketing, and I'm going to kind of reference the specific niche of clothing. So I'm going to bring some examples along with this as we dive into it. But there's kind of three major marketing angles, marketing tactics that different brands have. Now, one being popularity, one being good product, one being meaning. So, in order for a brand to be successful, they need to have one of these three things, whether it's they have status and popularity, whether they have a good product that sells itself, or whether they have deep meaning and people are buying into that emotional feeling and the meaning and that feeling that they get from the brand and representing that brand. So, again, popularity and the status that comes with it. People buy from brands like Nike, from brands like Under Armour, those major companies because of their popularity and the things that they see online, the people that they see wearing it, the other influencers, they buy it and they represent it and they support it because of the popularity and most importantly, the status that comes with it. So, now that that's out of the way, the second big marketing angle that a lot of these brands go off of is solely having a good product. Now, obviously, all three of these can go hand in hand. You can probably think of examples within your head right now of brands that do all three of these things very good. So, a brand that let alone does all three of these things good, but even if it comes down to simple as meaning in a good product or popularity in a good product, it's the recipe for success. So, a good product could be anything like hand cut and sewn that, you know, people see and instantly they buy. The marketing efforts don't route as deep because the product solely sells itself. Like the product is just so good that all that you have to do is put it in front of a cold audience, someone who's not even warmed up to your brand, your business, whatever it is you're marketing, and they could, buy that product because it's just such a good product in itself. It could be a hard ass hoodie that is just dope. Nobody cares about the meaning of it. Nobody cares if it's popular or not. They just want to buy it because the product sells itself and the marketing efforts don't need to route as deep of because of that. Now, when it comes to a brand with meaning behind it, it could be ads that tell stories. It could be just a very aesthetic business overall, something that has meaning behind the brand. So, a perfect example I could think of is a Christian brand, right? A Christian product, not even necessarily clothing. When you guys hear me talking about anything in general, you can relate this to whatever type of businesses you market. It doesn't have to be clothing. I'm just using that because it's kind of just a good example to go off of for how I'm explaining how to think like a marketer. So, as it tells stories, very aesthetic, has meaning behind the brand. Again, perfect example I can think of is a Christian brand. People are buying into that because of the meaning it has, right? People who are Christian want to support a Christian brand, they want to support God, they want to represent that. So they're buying into the meaning. Now, obviously, they're not going to buy that if it's not a good product. If it's something they wouldn't wear, they wouldn't wear. So this alone, like, doesn't have as deep as of an effect as a good product or popularity. Even popularity, if the product isn't good, people aren't necessarily going to buy it as much as if the product were good. No shit. But so again, perfect example, Christian clothing brand could be something else. Like, I mean, even even when it comes to the opposite spectrum, popularity. I'm wearing this Chrome Hearts hoodie because it's a good product. I think it's very cool. It's aesthetic, it has meaning behind the brand. But mostly the reason you're buying a hoodie that's, $700, $1,000 is because of the popularity and the status that comes with it. So a brand like Chrome Hearts is a perfect example of that because they've built that presence around their brand and that status and that popularity that comes with it. So again, popularity, status that comes with it, good product, marketing efforts don't need to route as deep because the product solely just sells itself. Your ads could be as simple as the fucking product laid out on a wooden floor, taking pictures of it, and if the product is good enough to sell itself, it'll sell regardless. Now, when it comes to the meaning of the brand, that's where on the creative side of things, stuff starts to get a little more technical. So let me go ahead and pull up an example of this. So what I think we have as a perfect example of a brand that, has popularity, 165,000 followers, has good products, and has very deep meaning and emotional feeling behind it is Ditch. So shout out Ditch if you're watching this. But if we take a look at some of their ad creatives, there's a couple examples I have here. This one is really, really good. It really brings the aesthetic out of the brand. It really brings the meaning, the feeling, and just like what the brand represents out in this ad creative. So perfect example here. Let's watch this.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
So you can see there that the emotional feeling you get from that and the way that it represents the products that they actually list, post, sell, correlate hand in hand. So they've done a great job of resonating with their customers' feeling and bringing out that emotional attachment within their products. Again, another perfect example. We'll watch one more here just to kind of give you guys a little bit more of a concept. Even when it comes to like them showcasing their products, like the aesthetic matches the product very well and it brings out that meaning and that feeling behind the product in itself. Like any of these product videos that I go to, or even let's look at some of their like photo shoots or even their product showcases, like everything has that meaning, that feeling, that attachment, like that represents the brand. So how does this exactly correlate with being a proper marketer and thinking like a marketer? They know their ideal customer and they know how that customer feels and what it takes to sell that customer over. They know their customer's interests. They know their customer's style very well. They know how to make good products that correlate, one, with their meaning, but two, with what their customer would actually wear. So from a marketing perspective, who's ever behind on the creative direction side of this brand has absolutely killed it, right? So if we look at their website, same thing. Even their website brings out the same meaning, feeling, aesthetic. It's easily navigable. It's easy to navigate, however the fuck you would say that. I'm just a marketer, not a speller. But again, perfect example of a brand who has just absolutely crushed it and will continue to crush it as long as they keep doing the exact same thing that they're doing. So when it comes to the actual ads then for a brand like, let's continue to reference off of Ditch after we've, talked about them for a while now. We're going to have our top of our funnel. We're going to have our middle of funnel. And we're going to have our bottom of funnel. Okay. So top of funnel ads are going to be, more of those aesthetic videos, bringing out the key thing with the top of funnel traffic is bringing out that feeling, meaning, I guess I already said aesthetic, but aesthetic videos that bring that feeling and that meaning out. Okay. So top of funnel traffic is going to be like cold audience. So people who have never seen the brand before, they're seeing it for the first time. They have to continue to get nurtured to the brand and learn more about the brand, see more of the brand. It's cold audience, right? So you're targeting people who have never seen the brand before. They're learning about it for the first time after getting hit with these ads that bring out their feeling, bring out that meaning behind the brand, and resonate with that customer. So then that brings them to the middle of the funnel. Once they start to kind of engage with some of these top of funnel traffic ads, they're going to start to warm up to it. So they warm up to that traffic. I gotta move my camera here. Let's move it to the right side. So they're gonna start to kind of warm up to that traffic a little bit. And then we're gonna start to hit them with ads that showcase the product a little bit more. So in a lot of those videos I showed as examples, you could see, you know, the products themselves weren't showcased. They were more focused on bringing out the feeling, the meaning, the aesthetic of the brand, and like showcasing that through video form. They weren't necessarily worried about showcasing the product. Their sole goal with those videos were to bring out the feeling and the meaning behind the brand, as well as resonate with the customer of how cool that brand is. You know, they aren't worried about showcasing their product yet. They're solely just worried about catching their customers' attention. And that's the biggest thing that you need to do with top of funnel traffic, is just catching their attention. You aren't worried about selling them on anything. You aren't worried about getting them to buy anything. You aren't worried about showcasing your product to them. You're just worried about catching their attention. That's all that matters at this stage of the funnel. So in the middle of the funnel, that's where you're going to want to try to catch their attention to the actual product itself a little more. So you're going to want to showcase the product a little more. You're going to want to resonate with the customer on a deeper level. Resonate with customer on deeper level. And you're just going to want to raise their interest in the brand. So again, well, I guess I deleted that old little thing I had up. But if we go back to like the good product, you're not as worried about when you're targeting cold audience, showcasing that meaning and feeling behind the brand, because the product is so good, it can just be sold straight to a cold audience level of traffic. They don't need to resonate any sort of feeling, meaning, aesthetic with the brand. If the product's good, it can be sold to a cold audience who's never seen the brand before, solely because the product is good. When the product isn't as strong of a product, it takes more of that emotional attachment to it. It takes more of a nurturing process. They need to be brought through the funnel more. And that's what I think a lot of people don't realize, and what separates a good marketer from a bad marketer is being able to realize the brand you're marketing for, what necessities it needs, whether they need to be nurtured further, whether they need to just be sold up front, and tying that in with how you're trying to go about marketing that business. So as we continue to kind of break down Ditch, maybe this will start to make a little more sense. Hopefully you guys are following along with me. But again, at the middle of funnel, we just want to warm that audience up even more, showcase the product a little bit more, and just resonate with the customer on a deeper level. Now, the bottom of the funnel is simple. The customer is warm. They're nurtured to the brand. They're ready to buy. So at this point, ready, I guess I'll just put, they're warmed up. But at this point of the funnel, again, they're warmed up. Oh my gosh, I can't type. Warmed up and ready to buy. They just need to actually be sold on it now. And the way that you're going to do that, you guys probably already know the answer, is simple. You're simply just putting the product in front of their face. So it's as simple as that. The customer's been nurtured. They've seen enough aesthetic videos. They've resonated with the brand enough. The feeling, the meaning, they've been attached to it. They've been warmed up by getting showcased the product more. And then by the time they fall into the bottom of the funnel, they're nurtured enough to where you simply just have to put the product in front of their face with something that could be as simple as this, and they're sold on it. They see Ditch, they see the product, they like the product, they've already been hit with that emotional attachment, and they're ready to buy. So I think the biggest thing that separates a good marketer from a bad marketer is being able to understand where a brand or a business is at within that level of those three kind of categories: good products, popularity, status, whatever you want to refer to it as. So now how exactly do you go about knowing kind of what level your client is at and what marketing efforts need to align with that client in particular? Well, it's as simple as looking at their products, looking at their content, and looking at the way they're currently going about it. Does the brand currently have a deep meaning attached to it? If not, it needs to. It needs to have some sort of meaning, feeling, aesthetic, and I mean, niche that that brand falls under in order for customers to be able to want to buy from it because they resonate with it. The biggest thing that sells a customer over is being able to resonate with a brand or even resonate with the product itself. So it's literally as simple as being able to look at a brand, a business, understand what marketing efforts need to take place based off of kind of those three key factors, and then aligning that with the way you're going about marketing them and running ads for them. And as well as, I mean, for the noobs around here, the stuff as simple as good creatives, a good product, a good website, a meaning, a feeling, social proof. All these things are always going to go hand in hand. These are the key things that allow a brand's success. Having the social proof of other people who engage with the brand, buy from the brand, resonate with the brand, the feeling and meaning, we've talked about that enough. Having a good website that customers can easily navigate through, having a good product that customers obviously want to buy and represent and wear, or if it's not clothing, use the product, whatever it is. And then as simple as good creatives, especially when you're a marketer, this is the biggest thing. And a lot of times that doesn't rely on you, that relies on the client, but that's where you have to realize, is this client worth my time? Are they able to get me the content I need? Are they able to create pieces of content that are able to resonate with my customer that I can put in front of those customers that are going to nurture them through this funnel to the point where they end up at the bottom of it and actually buying? So yeah, hopefully this video helps. Hopefully the way that I explain that is good. Let me know if you guys want me to talk more in depth about marketing efforts, the way to go about your marketing efforts, how to resonate with your customer on a deeper level, and I guess overall how to think more like a marketer. Because like I said, I didn't realize how many people aren't capable of thinking like a marketer or being able to put themselves in the customer's shoes and analyze the offer, analyze the funnels, analyze the products, analyze the content, everything that plays a role in your ads and your brand or business you're marketing for being successful. And I think naturally, I've kind of just been wired to think that way. I always have ever since 4 or 5 years ago when I started running ads for businesses. I've always just kind of been able to think in that perspective of a marketer. I think that's a natural talent I have. I think if you don't have that natural talent, you definitely can adapt your mindset to be able to think that way. You just need the information and the experience to do it. So, as I always say, the best way to get that experience, the best way to get that information is just actually fucking doing it. So, go out, sign some clients, get in the ads manager, and learn hands on doing it, as well as get the information that you don't have. Throw yourself into information, throw yourself into experiences that you can learn from. A lot of you guys are scared to jump out there and just throw yourself into the fire, but I think that is the biggest key in becoming successful, is just putting yourself in positions where you're uncomfortable, because that's what allows you to learn and grow the most. I guess that's kind of a wrap on this video. Like I said, let me know if you guys want more videos kind of on how to think in the perspective of a marketer. This was kind of just a random Sunday afternoon thing. I just felt like filming a video, dropping some sauce, and it came to my mind that most people don't know how to think from a marketer's perspective, or how to think like a marketer. So I'm gonna drop a fucking video on it. So I just cooked this up real quick, and here we are. And now I'm gonna post it. So hopefully this helps. If it does, all I ask is that you leave a like, subscribe, leave a comment down below, and make sure to sign up for my free 3-day live cinematic event starting September 15th. I'll leave the link in the description, where I'm going to go more in depth on this stuff, as well as it's going to be cool. It's going to be entertaining. I've spent a lot of money on production. So yeah, I will see you guys there. Thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, and let me know what more types of videos you guys want to see. Peace out. Love y'all.